A lot of things to unpack because it has been 2 months since I filmed myself. It has been more than 2 months. Today I'm just going to talk about my life update. Let me give you an overview of my life journey here in New Zealand. So I arrived in New Zealand on the 19th of October last year. So it has been roughly a bit more than 4 months. So first month I was staying on the outskirts of Auckland called Warkworth, and I was doing my work away there to settle, to adjust to the new environment, to the new country. And because this is my first time traveling to New Zealand. So after a month I moved to the city and I was staying in a district called Point Chevalier because I got linked up to the host there, 80 years old grandpa, through my previous host, through my workaway host, because I found it quite hard to find the right flat on a working holiday visa, because I particularly wanted to live with Kiwis, native speakers, because one of the biggest reasons why I'm here is to improve my English skills. Well, now it's kind of, still I do want to learn English, but I realize there are so many other more important factors I have to take into account when it comes to finding the right flat. So now and after a month of living there, I moved to North Shore here, the new flat. Now I'm living with Chinese. New place! Yeah! I like it. I do like it. And I'm definitely happier here. I do love and appreciate the experience I had at my previous flat with the grandpa, and I keep in touch with him. But I guess there are a lot of more important factors like just lifestyle, including wearing shoes, having a rice cooker, because I can't possibly buy a rice cooker here, given the condition of my visa. Although I am considering to apply for a student visa because I want to settle here because I love this country. So it's just a lot of things to unpack.
Gosh,
so I moved to this new flat 2 months ago and I got a job, a proper job. I would say an official professional job. That aligns with my previous profession. Therefore, I got a job in education, which is amazing. So the first level, when I was staying at Warkworth, the major challenge was getting along well with people from different backgrounds. And the second challenge, when I was staying in Point Chev, in the city, I got a job at a cafe pretty easily, thankfully. I just dropped my CVs at different cafes around my flat, and then it just happened. Boom. So I worked there for a month, and then I found out that I'm not a perfect fit in hospitality. Nothing to do with the owners, because I do still keep in touch with the owners still. The Indian couples are running the cafe, kind of combined restaurants, because there are lots of menus and the menus are brilliant. It's called Twisted Tomato. I highly recommend if you ever go to Point Chevalier area. There is a beach, beautiful beach, and the restaurant is amazing, and they're just so generous. And they have a kid. Sometimes I do help them look after the kid. So in my conclusion of me not fitting well in hospitality has nothing to do with coworkers, because usually that's the reason why people quit. I don't like my boss, I don't like my coworkers, something like that. But it has not. I realized that I can really handle the fast-paced workload. That's the nature of the job in hospitality. It's not. Actually, as I moved to North Shore on the second day, I was still keeping the job because, again, I did like the owners there. So I could not really say I cannot work there anymore. I'm a people pleaser. I can't really say no to people, but I made a lot of mistakes. And then I saw the roster and I found out that I had not been rostered. Okay, fair. But the feeling of rejection definitely hit me. So I remember feeling miserable, talking to my friend, talking to the Switzerland girl that I met at my work away, we did have a little bit of conflict. It's nothing about like you're wrong, you're at fault, and I'm at fault, but it's just quite inherent differences in our personalities. But like we sorted out, we made up, and we are good. We're on good terms, and I do really cherish our friendship. She said that's okay, and then you should find the job that you really like, that you are really passionate about. Okay, but I think it's important to touch upon that why I applied for a job in hospitality. There are many reasons. First of all, I knew that it's hard to get a job on my visa, on my working holiday visa, because it's limited. I can only stay here for a year. And by the time a month had already been gone, so 11 months left. In a serious job, on like official job, you can, especially in education, dealing with children, building a close bond is essential. There is very strong emphasis on safety in New Zealand education system, which is amazing. That is the thing that I got to know through my current job. So I thought it would be very hard to get a job that aligns with my interests and passion. Although I did try to, when I was working at a cafe, I was applying for many different positions, particularly a position of learning assistant. So in New Zealand schools, there are many learning assistants. So they help children who are a bit behind in schoolwork. I thought I could do that. I could not definitely work as a teacher because my previous job back in Korea, I taught English. I taught English, obviously non-native speakers to Koreans, but here everyone speaks English, so I'm not competitive at all. My passion or my experience could be useful. And usually people on a working holiday visa, people usually get a job in hospitality because I'm not underestimating hospitality jobs at all. Like I do really look up to them, including my Switzerland friend. Her profession was a waitress, and because now I have experience for about a month, and I did work in cafes back in Korea 5 years ago when I was in college, part-time. But here, I have no choice. That's why I had to work. But thank goodness, now I don't have to. But people usually apply for working holidays. Many goals, like they want to learn English, or depending on the country, their native language, especially New Zealand and Australia, since they're very multicultural. There are lots of international restaurants run by natives. For example, if you go to Korean restaurants, then they're mostly run by Koreans. And if you go to Japanese restaurants, they're run by Japanese. So if you're a Korean, on a working holiday visa, you can't really speak English. Your English level is quite beginner. But then still, because you get to work with other Koreans, it's easier to get a job there. So I guess those are the reasons why people on working holiday visas get jobs in hospitality and at restaurants and cafes, because language barrier is definitely lower than other industries. And then like from my experience, one of the things I found a bit frustrating is that you can really build a interpersonal relationship with customers because it's busy. You have to do a lot of things at the same time. You have to multitask, which is, I find this very, very hard. My strength lies in building a close bond with people, and that my strength has been really, really useful at my previous job. Still now I'm seeing it like how it's well used at my current job. So anyway, it was very, very hard for a month, but a great experience, definitely good experience. But you know what? I even took an intensive course just to learn how to make latte art, because I heard that's very important skill in New Zealand, because the coffee culture is quite different here and Korean. In Korea, everything has to be very fast. I'm not sure if people really enjoy drinking coffee, if they really drink it too, From my experience, I was based in Incheon and Seoul, the capital city. Everything is concentrated. And it's just so busy. And then just people lifestyle is definitely different, way different. It's like the opposite end of the spectrum. Laid back, slow, nature here, Korea. Lots of buildings, success, congestion, all the kind of things. So people don't really, from my experience, I can't really picture an image of Korean people savoring a cup of coffee. I would associate coffee with more a liter disposable cup, plastic cup, and then people drink latte. Iced latte is more common, but definitely, yeah, hot latte as well. But they don't, I wouldn't say they don't really savor it. I guess they just drink it to give them an energy boost or to wake themselves up. But here, like, people really savor it. So making latte art is very important. It's an essential skill if you want to work at a cafe. So I took a 30 hours of intensive course back in Korea right before flying to New Zealand. And I spent almost $400. I found out at the cafe, at the cafe I worked at, that I can't really do that. I don't know, for some reason I couldn't really steam milk properly, which was really frustrating because I used to, when I was in training, I did that in Korea, but maybe different milk or whatever. But I'm glad I took the course and then I did try. At least no regret. I think we should try. With the experience of getting a job, thought 100% impossible to get a job in education, but it came true. It came true. Really, oh my goodness. I'm just so thankful for that opportunity. So anyway, my name was removed in the roster. I was frustrated, miserable. I moved to this flat on the Boxing Day, and then there was this long holiday. So I started to look for a job from 6th of January. Back then, in the beginning, I didn't really apply for jobs online because that's not something I even consider. Because when I was working at a cafe, as I said, I applied for 10 different positions for the position of learning assistant, but I didn't get to hear anything back. And that was very frustrating. That was very discouraging. And I felt like, oh my goodness, I'm so not competent. I'm so not I have no talent. Maybe I have to work in hospitality for a year and that's not something I wanted to do. So what I tried was basically walking in different childcare centers. I chose childcare centers because less language barrier. They look for unqualified teachers for a reliever position. Reliever basically means you substitute for other teachers when they call in sick. I walked in 10 different childcare centers around my flat. Thankfully, there are lots of childcare centers, just a lot. And since there are a lot of Chinese and Koreans, very welcoming to Asians. And one of them handed me this application form that I could write down my information and stuff and scheduled an interview next week. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. In the beginning, I was quite hopeful when I was visiting different childcare centers, but after dropping my CVs at 5 different childcare centers and noticed they're not really interested in me, and I was very frustrated, but at least I can't possibly give up. I mean, working holiday, putting yourself out there is just amazing. Me coming to New Zealand is just a huge putting myself out there. It's just, I mustered up my courage. And because I'm in a new environment, for some reason it's easier to extend my energy further because I have to. I can't, it's not my comfort zone. And otherwise I have to go back. I mean, there are many moments where I thought to myself, I just want to go back to Korea. But I can't. I've already come here. I have already spent money and I've already really liked this country. So you can really stop yourself from trying. Therefore, you get to build more strength. You don't want to give up, so you try more. So despite all the, niggling feelings, I have no idea. Despite the frustration I just kept visiting different childcare centers and finally met the one who handed me the application form. And I felt definitely empowered, and the manager was there brilliant, so nice. And then while I was walking in for about a week, I was applying for different positions, including learning assistant. I stopped it because as the school term began, there was definitely less job opportunities for that position. But there was this after school program manager position. That looks interesting. That doesn't require any qualification. I don't have to teach them English, but I get to interact with children, supervising them and running lots of activities. That sounds perfect for me. I saw a huge barrier. I did think it might not work out. I didn't have any choice, so I did apply for it. And then I got a phone call from them. Oh, you know what? That was the time when I literally got a phone call. That was the moment when it had been 2 weeks since I started to look for a job on Friday. Feeling miserable, lonely. You know this feeling of not having nothing to do in the morning. You have nowhere to, you could go somewhere, you could definitely travel, and I have enough funds. Thankfully, I work full-time back in Korea, and I live with my parents. I don't drink, I don't smoke. I like going to libraries. I'm such a nerd. Because of my nerdy nature, I save lots of money. And working as a teacher definitely is not bad. The payment, I wouldn't say it's too low. I think it was pretty okay. Anyway, I saved a lot of money, so I hated the feeling of not having nothing to do when waking up in the morning. So I was very lonely and miserable, and I hated this also, the feeling of uncertainty. When I was in Korea, I hated the certainty. When everything was set in stone, basically infinite repetition of get up, go to work, and sleep. Get up, go to work, sleep. Get up, go to work, sleep. Get up, go to work, sleep. On the weekend, yeah, you get to do something, whatever you like, but I hated the cycle. I was fed up with that. But here, just uncertainty was, but I tried my best to see it as an opportunity, infinite opportunity, because everything is not set in stone compared to my life in Korea. I can establish whatever I want. So that was the energy I tried my best to project into the world, in order to attract that energy in return. But anyway, I was quite miserable. Sometimes I did definitely gave into the negative spiral. I might not be able to get a job. I might need to drop off my CVs at cafes and restaurants. Please don't misunderstand my intention. So I do think working in hospital, if that's something what you want, you should do it. And if your English is beginner, definitely it's hard to get a job where you need to interact with customers a little bit more than just basic conversations, then it might be hard. But if you don't want to work in hospitality, just practice ramble English as much as you can. That's what I had done. That's what I've been doing here now in New Zealand as well. Back in Korea, I guess I did that for 4 years. I did not sit still and memorize vocabulary. I didn't do that. I just did a bunch of different things in English. I hung out. Hung out with native speakers. I watched everything in English, even to the extent where I felt like not right to listen to Korean or to watch any Korean shows. It just didn't feel right. And I got anxious when I do that. Or what if my English gets worse? But then I got a phone call. the company I'm working for, and I love it. I'm gotta go to work now. Sorry, that was a bit of an abrupt ending. Thank you so much if you made it so far. Thank you so much for watching my rambly video. I think I just regurgitated everything I had gone through. I filmed this 2 or 3 months ago. I didn't have time to edit it because I was preparing for IELTS and I just passed it at the first attempt. Oh, how come it happened? I really didn't expect I would pass it at the first attempt. And I didn't take any courses, so I'm going to film another video on strategies for IELTS, preparing for IELTS to settle in New Zealand. I think I'm pronouncing it right. New Zealand.